Before I get into this video, I do want to share the fact that it snowed outside. It snowed outside over the last night, and it looks beautiful. I wanted to share that fact for anyone who's not getting snow, especially because this early in December usually is not that much snow. So that's nice. The weather's finally nice. Just wanted to share that. Hello, my name is Daniel Scuria-Herman, and today I'll be speaking on the topic of indentured servitude. Now, in the much-awaited Reaction to Money Game Part 1, I said this on the topic. And then I called out when it happened itself, the slaves line, as I said, corporate slavery. Slavery, at least in America, obviously 1619 slavery was very early on in American history, but there was a class divide. There was obviously race-based slavery based on colonialism and all that, but there's also class-based slavery, and the two have melded. But the idea of indentured servitude, what we would now refer to as interns, I guess, unpaid labor that were essentially volunteer slaves. And I played this game. It's similar to I played it like similar to the time I played Do I Have a Right? If you guys watched on the topic of the right to protest, but it's a similar era, similar style of game where you play as an indentured servant to Benjamin Franklin. I need to see if I can find that game because I do like that game, and I might make a video on the topic of indentured servitude because it's an interesting topic. But essentially, all of these notable figures in the South, you're gonna have like, slaves and stuff. In the North, it's indentured servants. It's the same thing. The only difference is race and voluntary giving up your rights. And I think that's very interesting because the kind of slavery we see in America is not necessarily the race-based one, even though systems like this do favor majority populations as opposed to minority populations. But the kind of slavery we see in America, with at least in terms of corporate stuff, is more closer to indentured servitude than it is to classic slavery. So I wanted to flesh this out into a full video. The idea of indentured servitude. Also, for this video, I got a lot of footage of gameplay because I got wrapped up in it, but the game I was talking about, I did find it. It wasn't about Benjamin Franklin, it was about Benjamin Eads, who looks like Benjamin Franklin with shorter hair and has a lot of his political leanings, so it makes sense that I was sort of confused about it. But no, the most famous figure in the game is Paul Revere, not Benjamin Franklin. Unless you count King George, but he's only mentioned. I don't know if I ever finished the full game. I think it was only like the first part, so I played longer in the gameplay. I recorded it before this. I think the last time I recorded after, I don't remember, but yeah, I really enjoyed myself. Here's the thing, the game is not about indentured servitude, but the game does talk about indentured servitude. The game is about an apprentice. What's the difference between an apprentice and indentured servitude? Virtually nothing. An apprentice is an indentured servant who has the promise of skill training. But as in the game, they mentioned several times, an apprenticeship will not necessarily result in you being skilled, will not necessarily result in you having good career prospects, will not result in anything beyond giving you lodging for a shorter period of time. And the indentured servants that you meet in the game are very much in your position. The way they operationalize it is indentured servants are there to receive food and lodging and clothing, but no pay and no skill. Apprentices receive food and lodging and clothing, but no pay, and maybe the opportunity to receive skills. There's a very fine line, and I think the same, because here's the thing. In this game and in this time period of indentured servitudes, indentured servants and indentured servitude as a whole, in that time period, they all coexisted. Slavery, indentured servants, and apprentices. Now, kinda we don't have any of those three in America, at least. We have interns. I mentioned this in the clip that I just showed. At least I believe I did. I haven't watched it myself. I only said it. But the idea of an internship falls very much on the same idea as an apprenticeship, which is really just a gilded indentured servitude, which is really just a gilded slavery. So it's a few degrees of separation, but it is essentially slavery at the end of the day. Of course, in modern times, you're not going to get beaten for disobeying or running away or whatever, and you don't really typically, at least with an internship, reside at your master's lodging. So there is very distinct differences. You also have rights as an individual, which you don't as a slave, but the system exists as a holdover from this apprenticeship, from this servitude, from this slavery system. And it's interesting how in this gameplay that you're seeing right now, and in history, and currently, the worth of titles is worth more than the worth of your actual actions. Oh, I'm an apprentice, I'm not like one of those slaves or one of those indentured servants, I have worth. Oh, I'm an intern, I am receiving necessary skills that'll help me progress in my field. It is essentially a lie to yourself, because you're trying to make it feel like your time serving another is worthwhile. I think that is very interesting. I think that I did ramble on with the indentured servitude for a while in the original video, but I think it's very cool. I think it's, and well, okay, obviously indentured servitude isn't cool. I think the concept and the idea and the historical significance of it is interesting. I don't know if I'd say cool, but cool to learn. The cool is a very all-encompassing word for me. Regardless, I think that the concept of indentured servitude should be taught more, because it is very poignant and present for our current time period, with how employment works and how it functions on a base level with this idea of skill. Because this idea of skill and reputation is the only thing separating yourself from a lowly position as property. The reputation is really what gets you beaten. And in the game, minor spoiler, but if you disobey, even as an apprentice, the highest form of this slave at the time period, you still get beaten if you do wrong. You still, like, the game is a kid's game, so they specifically had to say, normally you would get beaten for this, but I'm going to stay my hand, because I don't believe in that sort of thing. But generally in that time period, you would get beaten. So that's important to note. I think that, as I said in the Money Game Part 1 video, if we do not learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. Indentured servitude did not come from nothing. It is very, very important for our current time period. I think that we need to pay more attention to what has already occurred, because without it, we will repeat it. Recording this, I think I did more want, and I did more want? That feels wrong. I wanted an opportunity to play the game again, because that was something from the Do I Have It Right era that I haven't experienced in a very long time, and I wanted to see it again. Of course, it's very different now, I remember, because I didn't play it as much as I played Do I Have It Right, especially because it's a much more in-depth, complicated game. I just got a YouTube comment alert. Sorry. You guys are leaving really nice. Also, thank you for 400 subscribers. I was going to mention that in the last video, and then I forgot to. So, thank you for that. It means a lot to me because it's a very surprising, rapid growth. When I describe it like that, it sounds cancerous. Anyway, I think that the game, it's a lot more in-depth than I remember it, because I remember it more as just, also I could be thinking of a different game, I could be thinking of an actual Benjamin Franklin game, but I think I also played this one as well, because I do remember parts of it. But yeah, I think that it's all very interesting. The idea of, because it also, the concepts that it brings up is not something that is taught in school outright that much. It's very, very distinct, and trying to think of a word that's not objective, because I don't, as I said in the last video, I don't like the word objective. Very explicit. That's another word I don't like. Very explicit. I don't like objective, and I don't like explicit as adjectives. I said why in the last video, but it's very explicit with its narrative. It's very explicit with its leanings. Its idea of fence sitting. Fence sitting is a mechanic in the game, which is strange to hear about a game from the not from the, but about the 1770s. I think that is very interesting to sort of have these ideas of trade bars and how that works, and cooperation within a community, armored military force. I mean, I could say that we're seeing things like that today, but I don't have to. It is very interesting, and I think it's something that should be focused on more in education. I also think that in the modern age, I don't think it's a bad thing that there are games like this, especially in the education system. I think they should be focused more, because with the modern attention span, I think that games like this, like Do I Have It Right, only help students grasp these concepts. I recommended, as I submitted my final, hopefully I do not fail that, but I submitted my final recently. If I get a good grade, I might turn it into a video. But I submitted my final for my artificial intelligence class that I've been talking for the last few months in videos. And I recommended a game about the Prisoner's Dilemma, The Evolution of Trust, which is a game that I saw this YouTuber, Matt Shea, play a while ago. And it's by his developer, Nicky Case, who has made a bunch of games that I've seen Matt Shea play. Very good games, good creator too, good developer, everything. But the reason why I liked it was it brings these complicated psychological concepts, and it brings it into this sort of palatable, consumable, easy to understand way for not only children but adults as well. And I think that's very interesting. That's very important for education going forward, because I think that not only do kids need to be educated, but adults need to be educated, and I think we do need focus on that. So I think that games like this are useful because it immerses you in the context and the education and all of that. I think that generally that is very useful when trying to educate someone. I think that you should go for an education that draws someone in, even if it's an unprofessional format. I think that is worthwhile, especially in an age of low attention spans, of AI. I think you're competing with an attention market, and I think that it's not even fighting fire with fire, because this is a very educational game, and I recommend it. It holds up even though it's probably over 10 years old by now. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. Did any of you play this game when you were younger? Did any of you play Do I Have a Right, which I referenced, which I talked about on the topic of the right to protest? There will be a card up there. Oh yeah, I recorded a lot of gameplay. I mentioned that. I might skip around because it is slower, but I might just play it over the next video that I do, just because I recorded so much of it. with the gameplay, with the clip at the beginning of this video, I think that everything that's needed to be said about it has been said, at least for now. Is there anything that you want to say about it? I already did my sort of outro questions, but if there are any more, please let me know. If there's an answer to a question I haven't asked, state the question and answer the question. I really... And I just got another alert. YouTube sends you an alert when you reach 500 subscribers. I didn't know that they did that. They've never seen that before. That's really... Huh. Alright, I waited so long to thank you for helping me reach 400 subscribers that in the same video I reached 500. Again, in a little over a week, I have doubled my subscriber count. The meteoric rise of this channel is truly unprecedented. You know what? The gameplay is going to stay up. Cause I still... Wow. 500 is a milestone that is a secret milestone for me to sort of legitimize the worth of this channel, to keep it going, the reason to continue. I think that hitting that milestone so quickly is crazy for me, because I've been doing this for a few years, not really regularly, but having this stark rise is crazy. I know a lot of you are here just for Ren, and I understand that, but I am, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I am getting a lot of positive comments, and it is heartwarming, and I do feel like at least some of you are here for me, and that is a distinct change from my personal life. So, thank you. Wow. And thank you especially to Ravenous Catalyst, who has been here since nearly the beginning, I believe. And I owe a lot to in terms of my success. And I hope to keep succeeding. Now the gameplay can fade away. Wow. Sorry, I just can't really comprehend, because even if like I reached 500 after all this time, but it was like a stable rise, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. You know, I put in the work and I'm getting results. I don't even think I would feel as good about it as I do now. But it's the fact that in about a week I doubled my subscriber count. That's crazy. That's insane. Alright. That's all for me. I got nothing more to say. I've said too much already. That's gonna be it. I think I talked too much in the reaction video and you guys didn't like it as much, but I'm gonna try next video in about like 2 or 3 days. Money Game Part 3, and I'm gonna try to talk less. Even though I just got the comment saying please do talk. But despite that, I am... That's gonna be for me. So until next time, adieu.